Alright guys, as promised, and it's taken me a while to get this organized, but I've been wanting to do a better axe mask for my Granthos Brooks axe. So the one it comes with is kind of thin, and it's not great, but it's functional. But I use this axe a lot, and I thought I'd make something a little bit nicer. I'm going to use the same style as this one. Leatherwork is brand new to me as far as making a sheath goes. I make a lot of pouches and things like that, but that's really simple stuff. This is a little more advanced, so, and I'm going to kind of be like scraping by to get this done because I really have no idea what I'm doing. So this one's about a 2 or 3 millimeter, and this here is a 5 or 6 millimeter veggie tan. Alright, you see I've got the guard here roughly cut out. I'm going to trim it down a bit, obviously, but actually this leather cut's very easy when you got a sharp knife to do the work. But there's where we're at. So the fit to the blade, to the edge is pretty good, and I'm going to even this up a little bit, and then we'll get started on the actual mask itself. Alright, well, here's going to be the front, and here is the inside guard. Of course, it all looks rough now, but after some sanding, when it's all sewed in, it'll clean up good. But here's where we're at. See how the axe will go right in there and snap right into place. And of course, there'll be a lot of trimming here, of course, but there we go. But that's where we're at the moment. So, hang tight. Alright, well, I've got it worked over, got it all cut, got the general shape of the mask at the moment worked out. Of course there'll be some contouring, when I'm done. But what I'm going to do now is start drilling the holes for sinew threads, so get back with you. Alright, well, I drilled all the holes, and it's definitely not perfect. Looks pretty good here, not quite as good here, but that's expected since I don't have a drill press, so, but it's actually not that bad. Alright folks, got the front end sewed, all done. You can get it under the camera here. Yeah, it's not too close. Hopefully none of it's blurry, but there's where we're at the moment, and I'm just kind of tracing out the strap right now. I'm going to cut that off and get that situated in the right spot, and I'm going to trim this up a little bit, and then I'm going to attach this, and then I'm going to have my go with the snaps. So not too bad. It's not perfectly even, but it don't look too bad, and as soon as I get the sandpaper out and I start working this, I'll get it nice and even across the front and smooth, and not looking too bad. So hang out. Well, I've rounded off the back side of the mask, and now I've got this sewed on pretty well. I went about double thick on the back strap. Might as well, given the amount of material I have to work with. So let me grab the axe. I kept it a little bit loose here, so when I bring the axe head in, it doesn't cut the top of this and just bore its way through, which happened to this one because it was just a little too tight, and I ended up cutting through near to the top, and I ended up having to put an extra piece of leather in there to stop that. So I won't have that problem now. So when it brings it down, though, should be nice and snug, and probably put my snap right about there, and it'll be in my opinion, a much nicer sheath. So okay, well, for the most part, the project is done. First time using these, so it's a little tricky. I left it a little tight, so I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit, and then I'm going to run this on some sandpaper and get the edges all waxed up, and then put in some of my special leather treatment that I've made and get it soaked in, and then I'll take some final stills at the end. A few steps during the project I took in stills instead of video, so wait for the end of that to check it out, and here it is for the most part. Much higher quality sheath than the one that's provided. Will probably last, well, I'm banking it'll last longer, but who knows. And much thicker and sturdier, so Just finishing off all the edges with the this leather and steel paste that I've made. I actually got this recipe off YouTube itself. Blacksmith recipe for treating their leathers and keeping their steel from rusting. And maybe I'll put it in the description too, because I'm sure somebody will ask. So I'm gonna get it rubbed in all the edges. You see how it darkens it up. For those of you watching who might have a question, my Cooksa project, I'd like to get to it this week. Anybody noticed, mine was kind of thick, so it took a lot of extra time to dry. And I think it's right about there to start sanding, and I think I might work on that tomorrow because I got done with this a lot faster than I thought I would. I'll tell you what though, after doing this tonight, I got a newfound respect for people who do leather. And their prices are justified for the amount of work that has to go in. So, I'd just like to throw that out there. There we go. Well, I'm going to keep rubbing it in until the paste disappears, and then we'll get some real good stills.